All right, we're rocking. Today on the New How podcast, we have Tarra Torrance, owner of the Biscuit Lady in Roxborough. For those of you that don't know what the Biscuit Lady is, Tarra is a Philly transplant and a local. She's a local up-and-coming restaurateur and has made her mark in the Philly breakfast scene, literally taking it by storm, starting a biscuit company that offers freshly baked buttermilk biscuits, which I think we're going to try today, biscuits, sandwiches, biscuits and gravy, sweet treats, and a lot more to come. I will tell you, I've personally had her biscuits. Too good to discuss on air. Like literally, you have to go try it. But I'm excited to have her on today because I want to talk to her about her business, how she got it to the point she did, and her expansion plans, and what she's looking to do as a young entrepreneur in the restaurant space here in Philadelphia. And I think it's going to be great for everyone listening to hear and just understand the struggles and challenges of being a business owner, growing into something super successful. So, Tarra, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Biscuits aside first. I understand you were in the real estate and mortgage business prior to all this up in New York. What the hell are we doing here? Talk to me about that for a second. I want to understand where you came from.
Before we get into that, I'm kind of hung up on the fact that you just said young entrepreneur, and I really appreciate that because I'll just say that.
I'm young, new, however you want to interpret it.
I like
fresh,
young. We can keep that.
You are fresh in business here. You started in 2021.
Here I thought you meant young age. All right.
We're all old now, I feel like.
We're
all still kids, though, in a way, too.
Yes.
If you talk to some of my mentors, they still call me a kid. But I want to understand, mortgages, real estate. Like, how'd you get into that? Let's talk there first.
Yeah. So my background, as you'd mentioned, is in finance, mortgages, real estate. Did that for about a decade.
Oh, wow.
I got into that I actually kind of fell into that in my early 20s. And I was working for an insurance company at the time, spotted an opportunity to significantly increase my income.
Yep.
As a young 20-year-old, that really lured me in. That was at the height of the subprime kind of.
Yep.
When
it's
you
a good time, like 2000. So you like 2011, 10, 11, 12 is when you kind of really got
2008
solidified.
Is when I started.
Oh, wow. So right after the crash.
Yeah, so it was insane. I was working for Chase Mortgage at the time. We were doing like 10, 12, 15% mortgages with like 7 points on them. It was...
Did you ever, I mean, you worked for Chase, but a lot of what that crash was based over was the Wells Fargo pick a payment plan.
Yes.
Is that familiar with that?
Yes.
Like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Where like, for those of you that don't know what the Wells Fargo pick a payment plan was, is that you could essentially set your monthly mortgage payment, and they would then put the rest of your mortgage payment back towards your loan and increase your loan balance. So it literally was like a bomb waiting to explode, where the houses weren't even appreciating as quick as the loans were, and like all of a sudden one day everything went to shit.
Exactly. Like that's everything in a nutshell. Yeah. Yes. So
that would be like a tower, and that was like took out one of the legs of that tower.
Yeah.
It wasn't the whole story, but it was a big piece of it.
Yeah. No, I mean, like all kidding aside, I hope we never ever see anything like that again. That was obviously, I think the markets, of course, that were hit the hardest were California, Vegas, Washington, Michigan was hit really hard. I mean, our local area, we were hit hard, but it wasn't like drastic, right? Where the values were significantly inflated to like $1 million, So yeah, I just hope we never see that again. But I was in that business for about a decade. I really loved it, but I mean, to be truthful, I loved it because of the money.
Yeah.
Right. I was young. I was making a lot of money. I was having a great time. I was traveling. I was buying cars, buying a house. Like it was a good time. I didn't have kids. I was just like having a great time, enjoying my life, making a lot of money. I wasn't passionate about it though. Like it wasn't like getting me up every morning like the paycheck was. And that's what I was loving.
The Friday paycheck, you're like, all right, I can deal with this another week.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty much that in a nutshell.
So let's get, what was the turning point? All right. So now, you said 2008, so 2018, 19, and look, I know it takes time to get this. So 21. So talk to me like 2019, what's going on in your head as you're getting ready to launch the Biscuit Lady brand? Like where are you at, and what's that change for you look like?
So 2019, I was a realtor, doing really well. My first year I sold 9 houses, which was great.
Really good for a first year of real estate.
It was good. It was great. And a lot of people were like, what? That's insane. I credit that a lot to the Roxborough Moms group. So there's like this, and I'll talk to you a bit about that more later, but I'm part of this massive network of moms in Roxborough. And that is how I was successful in real estate my first year.
Love it.
Basically, you have an opportunity to share your business or your business once a month with the group. Yep. And so
And
I
you
would
do that
share it.
digitally, or is it in person? Is it what's
Digitally.
It oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. Right on Facebook.
That's cool.
And I would get so many leads from just that. So it was great.
Amazing. And so you were a realtor in Roxborough, Philadelphia.
Yes.
Okay. And and when did you move here? When did you actually get
I've been in Philly for like 21 years.
Okay.
So I moved here when I was 21.
Yep.
I was working for an insurance company.
Okay.
Moved here, knew no one, just kind of like packed up my apartment. It was like, I'm out. I had an opportunity to advance my career and moved here at that time. So
you're barely a trans. I mean, you are a Philly transplant, but you're barely. I mean, I haven't even been here 20. I've been here a little over 12, 13 years now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where are you from originally?
I'm from Jersey. So I grew up in Jersey,
gotcha.
came to college here, ended up staying here. My mother sold the house when she realized I wasn't coming back to Jersey.
Gotcha.
And lived in Philly ever since. So I love it here. It'll always be my home base, but I a lot of people say the same thing. They see why Philly is just so diverse. There's you at the beach, you can go out to the mountains. Like it's the location here is the best.
It is.
It really is.
It is. Yeah. So I'm barely a transplant. I agree with you on that.
You pretty much you've been here longer than most kids.
Yeah.
So that's good. So why biscuits? Like, all right, so you're selling houses. Your first year, you had a super success. You sold 9 houses your first year as a real estate agent. Like, why are you going into biscuits now?
So real estate was really a cool experience for me, and I did love it. I mean, my mortgage experience kind of, parlayed into like the whole real estate business. And I think the toughest thing for me in real estate was working with a lot of first-time home buyers and the disappointment that they continue to see time and time again with being outbid by a cash buyer, being losing their home, losing the deal to someone who was waiving inspections, or just like various different things that were like really heartbreaking.
Yep.
And it was like, it sounds cheesy, but like I felt that with my buyers because I was like, I was invested obviously from a time standpoint, from an emotion standpoint, like I'm in it.
And they're like, oh my God, my couch from my grandmother would look great here. Can't wait to move in. And then all of a sudden, like, yep, sorry. You had too many contingencies. You're going to be yours.
Exactly.
Like, that's going to be rough.
And I would try to like talk to the seller's agent and be like, hey, I got like, they don't care. Cause like if it's a cash deal or if it's something that's more attractive, like your letter of intent or letter of,
at that time in the market, stuff was moving like, stuff's not even on the market for days. It sometimes wasn't even hitting the market. It was pre-market and then selling.
Yeah.
Like,
So that was stressful, right? Like I was like, I'm over this. It's heartbreaking.
Yep.
It's a lot of weekends away from my kids, which I do now, of course, as well. But so literally my idea for the Biscuit Lady was formed when we were on vacation, sitting on the beach in Ocean City, New Jersey. When you're on vacation, like you have a moment to sit back and kind of reflect upon where you're going with life, what you're doing. So I'm sitting there next to my husband and I'm just like thinking my kids are playing. I'm like enjoying the sun. And I'm just like, what am I going to do with my life? What do I want to do? And I always knew I wanted to do something with food. So I had an idea years ago to do like a meal prep business. I think I'd mentioned to you at one point I was into fitness and I was like, I'm going to do a meal prep business.
And there's a lot of those, right?
And they're successful, like really successful. So that's something that I had considered because food is very like, I'm a passionate person about food. Like I'm just love like bringing joy to people that way. So sitting there and I'm thinking about the biscuits I'd made that morning because I've made biscuits for like, since I met my husband like over 10 years ago. Like
And you were making them from scratch?
From scratch.
Or heated up and from the food store, cut the rolls and put on a tray?
No. There's none of that.
All right, good.
So always from scratch.
Okay.
And then I was like, I could do something from home. Like this is kind of the wheels were starting. I could do something from home. Then I start Googling as I'm sitting there. And as I'm talking to you, I'm like remembering me doing this. And I'm like, what can you make from home that's food safe is kind of what I Googled. And I saw jam and I saw bread. And I'm like, well, I can make great bread, but like, I don't know, like, will there's gonna be money in that? Like, how am I going to succeed? Like selling loaves of Italian bread. I couldn't envision that, but biscuits came to mind. I was like, holy shit, I make amazing biscuits. Like this morning at our shore house, I made biscuits and my kids were like, Mom, we want more. So it literally was like a light bulb moment of like,
so you're down the shore, you're on vacation with the family. You're like, you know what? I'm going to make fucking biscuits. I'm making biscuits. And I want to pause this. I want to pause this interview for a second because this is a turning point in most entrepreneurs. The one thing out there is that there's a plentiful of ideas. Everyone has ideas, but what everyone's about to hear in this next part of this conversation is the execution. Your idea is shit without execution. And literally, I want to hear this execution because you're on the beach in Ocean City, New Jersey. It's like, we're making biscuits with jam. Now what?
So I classify myself as extremely tenacious and just like go-getter, right? Like,
Yep.
this is what I'm doing. I'm not stopping till I get it done. So like that day when we left the beach, I like created my logo with help from a designer.
Love it.
And I was like writing out a plan. I'm in bed,
Yep.
like on my phone until like 2 a.m. Like, this is what I'm doing. So we wake up the next morning. I'm like, Saint, my husband, I'm like, this is what we're doing.
So I want to pause again.
Sure.
Talk to me about, like, at this moment when you have this idea and you're looking, like, how far ahead were you looking? Like, what was your vision for Biscuit? Like, did you, like, how far ahead did you see at that point?
I didn't see very far ahead. It was kind of like
I got to get 12 biscuits out on the tray with some jam?
Yeah, like
type of head?
Kind of. It definitely wasn't like what it is now, right? Which we can talk about a little further, but it wasn't me thinking, I mean, of course there was that, like, you know, that dream, that moment of like, maybe someday I could have like a huge company. Like, I don't know what this could turn into, right? That was kind of the vision or the extent of the vision.
Like next to the Tasty Cake factory in the Navy Yard, just like printing biscuits.
Yeah. I mean, someday.
You never know.
Yes.
But like, but your vision at that point was like, I want to make biscuits with jam. They're going to be great. My husband loves them. My family loves them. Other people will love them.
Right. Like, let's test this out. Okay. And so at that time when we got back home, like, it was literally like, I am not stopping until this idea comes to fruition.
You're making the Instagram on the drive home, like in the car with the logo?
I did.
All right.
And actually the original Instagram was under That's My Jam, because that's my company's legal name. Biscuit Lady is the DBA.
DBA to it. Nice.
But yeah, so I marketed myself to the Mamas group in Roxborough.
Anyone want biscuits for this weekend for events or the upcoming holiday, right? Like, it's got to be. I've seen those posts. Like, people make cakes, whatever. Like, okay. And then did you run out of oven space, or how'd that work? Yeah.
It was freaking insane. So like from the moment I posted, which was August 1st, right? We were in Ocean City, July 23rd. So you can post in the Mamas group the 1st of every month. So August 1st, I'm posting.
Yep.
I already have my LLC.
This is August 1st, 2021.
2022.
2022. Oh, yeah.
2022.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm literally just hit 1 year in business.
Yep.
I'd already had my LLC. Like, I was doing all that on the way home from Ocean City, like creating this foundation, because my husband's a lawyer, so he's like, you gotta have an LLC. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be like giving people food.
You file to get your EIN for you, you're good to go.
Yeah, exactly.
It can all be done. For those, you know, the fastest I've ever opened up an LLC is like 35 minutes. Like, you can.
It's quick, yeah.
Once you understand and you know the process, you know what else you have to do once you open it, but it can take you literally 35 minutes to get your LLC up and running if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, super easy. Yeah. So
all right, you're on your way home. So, all right, you put out this post on Facebook to the Roxborough Moms group.
Yep.
You're like, what do you say? Like, what's the post say? Like,
I mean, I could probably pull up the original, but it's basically like, hey, my name's Tarra. I like to make biscuits. Do you want some? No, it was a little more than that, but it was like, hey, this is my passion.
Yep.
I make buttermilk biscuits, offering them for sale, and then I would deliver them.
Yep.
So it was like a weekend only.
Yeah.
Get your fresh buttermilk biscuits.
Yep.
Delivered right to your door hot, you know.
So how many, I mean, you don't have to say the number, like, you know, how many times did you open the oven door from that point till like?
It was insane.
Yeah.
And I have a little galley kitchen. So it's just like flour and shit everywhere.
It's like a plume of just flour just hovering in there. You're just like sweat. You're just like, I can imagine.
Oh, it was insane. And I mean, I was getting up at like 2, 3 in the morning to get these biscuits going, because in my home, I only have one oven as well.
Yeah, deliver by 10:30, like shit.
Exactly. Yeah. And I had like a whole list of people, and like, it was really cool, because I knew at that moment that I had something really special.
How quickly was it? Like the first weekend, third weekend, were you like tapped out? Were you like, I can't make another damn biscuit in my oven?
It was like 1 month in. Yeah, it was like 1 month in. So like right around September, I started seeking out ghost kitchens.
When you had like that first, you know, employee, the person that came back and like every week of that same person's order. Yes.
That's when I knew.
Okay.
I was like, holy shit, this is actually something.
Now we're in August, you put out the post. September, you can't make another damn biscuit in your kitchen. You're looking for ghost kitchens. Now what?
So now I find a couple places in Conchi, wanted a lot of money. I was like, I was new to it, right? Yeah. And I was still like, this is a great idea, but...
You've been selling mortgages. You've never been selling biscuits in the storefront, right? Like...
Yeah, it was all new to me. Yep. Like, never even worked in a commercial kitchen. I've like waitress, bartended, but like didn't know, right? So that was not an option. And then I met up with Lucky's roadside stand. Chris Barnes is the owner of Lucky's.
Another great spot. Chris is an amazing person too.
Yep. Amazing person. And he said during our first meeting, and when you become famous one day,
don't forget
you can always credit us. So I'm like, Maybe if I become famous, but even now I'm like, Chris Barnes, I love him.
Yep.
I love the whole team over there. They welcomed us in with open arms and allowed us to rent space there.
Yep. So by what time, so September you met Chris, when were you set up functioning out of and I'm assuming the whole time you're still on the weekends hustling biscuits.
Yes.
Like while this is going on,
Yeah, hustling
right?
biscuits, doing like farmers markets, like little pop-ups here and there. Yeah.
When were you in the location that you're in currently on Ridge Ave there?
October 7th of 2022. So it was 4 weeks.
Yeah, because they were already set up. They had the infrastructure, so able to get your permits through the city, ready to rock.
Yeah, so that was seamless.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Great. And then October comes. Now it's like, now what? Did you still by yourself? Did you have any help?
Dude, I was by myself and it was crazy. And you were one of my first customers, like in that, I remember like right back in that time.
I was, because I was on the RDC at that time. I'm keeping a pulse. I'm like, my wife, Marcy, she's like, you gotta look at this place. I think I actually saw you when you were making the biscuits out of your kitchen. My wife, Marcy, I think found you at that point. She's like, look, this woman's making these biscuits and like people are going nuts over them. Then it was like right there. Then you saw like, we're now at Lucky's Roadside.
Right.
Like, as soon as we saw that, we're like, we're going.
Okay, cool.
That was like right in that time.
Yeah, so I was by myself. I didn't want to take on the risk of hiring employees and potentially having to lay them off, right? Like I go into everything with a positive mindset. And I think that's super important for any of the listeners, like anyone who's trying to start a business or really do anything in life, right?
Yep.
Like you're not going to go in thinking like I'm going to fail.
Yeah. Well,
you do have to, but as a business owner, you do have to keep that in mind when you're bringing other lives into the situation.
That level of anxiety is good to have. I worry about payroll a lot less today with my 25, 30 employees upstairs than I did when I had 2 or 3 employees.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
The anxiety and the fear is always there.
Yes.
It's just how you control it a little bit differently.
Right. And as you grow, you're like, all right, I've been here before. Is that kind of what you're getting at? Like, I've been here. I've handled this. We've overcome.
But you're building, systems, process. You're like, I know my stuff. I know my biscuits are good. I got, 100 raving moms in a Facebook group that fill my, kitchen with, flour dust every weekend.
No, seriously.
Like,
yeah.
Like, so it's like you almost like build that confidence where like, all right, I hit this step. Like one of my mentors, Scott, always says, he owns this building and he's been a mentor to me a long time. He says, Brian, you can't, you got to hit every rung of the ladder. But if you skip one, you're going to fall and break your teeth. Right. Like, but no one ever says you can't run up that ladder, but you got to hit every step. Look, you had the idea, you made the logo, you got your web presence set up, you made the biscuit, proof of concept, right? Like you didn't just go and be like, I need to open a store tomorrow, right? Like there are people that try to think you can do that, but you can't.
See, that would frighten me because and I mean, like especially having a family and like all those responsibilities. So yeah, I would not do that, but here I am jumping into a second location. So but now the concept's tested it's proven.
You have your consistent regulars. You have, are you, I mean, do you get into like metrics in your business? Like, are you like, like, do you know how many new client or new customers you're having on a monthly basis? Like, do you track all that?
I do track all that. I have a system for that.
Yeah. You don't have to give. So like, I don't need back end hidden data, but like talk to like the entrepreneurs that are listening, like what's important to you as a new business owner, like what you want to know in marketing and business.
Yeah. So obviously you want to see new regulars every single week. And you want to see new customers, right? Like that become regulars and that spread the word and continue to come back. But growth, right? Like revenue growth every week. And I want to see when I bring on new employees, am I able to have revenue attached to that new team member, right? Because payroll goes up, I can't have revenue stay stagnant.
Exactly.
So we have to introduce new things, right? So those are some of the metrics I'm looking at. I'm definitely looking at like hourly labor versus gross revenue and things like that. But yeah, it's primarily that number I want to see going up every single week. Definitely not going down. Like that's,
are you there still every single weekend, or like talk to me about your current responsibilities in there?
So I'm so thankful because I have the best team. Like seriously, when I talk about, sometimes you hear this from employers, they're like, oh, we have the best team. Like I literally mean that my team is fucking awesome because they care about the business. They love the business. They show it through their interactions with customers, through how they do the food. So I've recently been able to step back a little bit, which has been huge because
allows you to focus on what's next, right?
Correct, right. And so they understand that. And like that, I think to tell you what happened there, when I explained to them, like, I have to take a step back. I got to take Sundays off now. I was worried because I'm like, they're going to think, here she is, Miss Prissy, like taking time off. And I met with them and they're like, no, we know that. We want you to.
Of course.
So that was a moment that was really kind of even more eye-opening for me, just knowing that they were really invested in the overall success. Because I'm like, guys, I have to keep growing this team. In order to do that, I need to be rested, focused.
Yep.
You know, I have to come up with more of a balance for life. So yeah, so now I don't work Sundays anymore.
How many team members do you currently have?
I have 8 now.
Wow.
Yeah.
8. And is that like they're all working at the same time, or are they like?
Yeah, they're all working at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah, which is.
And that's
it's
Friday through Sunday. Like what's the
Thursday through Sunday?
Thursday through Sunday, 8 people full time from what time to what time?
My baker and I get in at like 3:30, 4 a.m.
Holy shit!
So I do still go in to bake with him, not on Sundays though. Yeah. And then the other people come in like around 6.
Okay, 6 to what time?
Like
you open
1
till?
or 2.
Okay,
we're there till 1 or sell out. But then of course there's cleanup and there's prep for the next day and what have you.
So you mentioned. I want to chat a little bit before, because you did mention second location. I do want to get into that, but
yes,
I want to get into back to like the social, like you mentioned the moms on Facebook group, right?
Yes.
Like one of the things I've seen with your Instagram and like your brand building on social is very different from other businesses, and I'm just going to call like your category, right? Like I see there's other bakeries in the area, there's other restaurants similar scale to you, right?
Yeah.
What do you do differently than other people? What are you doing that's working that you see somebody in the food space doing that is providing success for you? Like, can you talk a little bit about
for sure.
your social presence and what that's doing for you?
I am very passionate about social media. And the funny thing about Instagram, I did not even know how to use it prior to opening this business. I had like a personal Instagram account, but I really never got on it. Didn't know how to make a reel. My best friend, she's like a pro at it. I'm like, how do you do this? She's like, I'll show you. I actually ended up I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, I'll figure it out. So I like threw a few together. But I think the most important thing with social media is consistency, right? Regularly posting like food porn-ish type of things, because they're going to grab people's attention, right? Using trending audio is a really big thing. So for anyone who's looking to like get a lot of views, a lot of hits on.
When that's like when you go to create a post, it says you like use this audio, these are trending. Like
exactly,
it'll say
it shows like a little arrow up, and if it says that, then use that audio. Also use like audio that's like kind of on brand, I think is important. Our brand is somewhat like a soulful type brand, so a lot of times I'll use like Sam Cooke or Aretha Franklin, but like I use like hip hop and like stuff like that now too because it's fun.
What's the furthest you've ever heard someone travel to get to your restaurant that found you through social? Because I have one I want to tell you, but I want to hear
Maryland, but I'm not sure where in Maryland.
It
was amazing.
It ain't Roxborough. It's not Manioc, Roxborough, Philly. Like it's at least an hour.
It was a big deal, and the tough thing about this, he was in line with his son, and we had just sold out. And I was like walking through the line. I'm like, hey guys, like this was like the early, probably like 3 months in, we were like selling out all the time because we just didn't have enough employees to keep baking and whatever. And so I'm walking through the line. I'm like, hey, we're sold out. And he's like, drove here from Maryland.
Do you still have a line down the street when you open?
We do sometimes. Yeah. I mean,
because I remember like if you didn't get there, you were like we gotta get there.
Like so SOL. Yeah. No, so we do have a line down the block a lot of mornings, which is incredible. Yeah, like I don't even know how to say thank you to my customers for that, because it's just like start a concept, put it out there, line down the block within 1 year, like pretty consistently. Like I'm thankful for that, and it's just like I get emotional about it. You know what I mean?
Because it's just grateful for the situation.
For sure,
But you also gotta you're doing something and you're putting out a product that people are loving. That they're they're eating with their families. They're like taking it and proud to bring it to other family events. Like it's special what you're doing. It's even though it's biscuits, the impact that's making is wild.
Right, and I didn't consider that when I started, but like forming the community that we've formed has been really cool. Like just all of it, right? Like, but that one customer, I was like, I will make you something right now. Like, I'm not letting you leave.
Hang on.
So like we made it work for him, but it was like he had to wait a little bit because I had to make a fresh batch and all that. But I was like, you're here from Maryland,
to not have. No, that's great. We had one of the businesses I'm part of is this haunted house, and we had a TikTok going. We had literally somebody drive up from North Carolina that saw the haunted attraction through TikTok.
What?
And I was like, wait, what? Like it's just like the power, like that was the first time I really realized like the true power. Like like I'm running a business where you got to come, stand in line, buy a ticket, go through this thing, and then like not let alone drive 5 hours to get to it. Like that to me was like mind-boggling. I'm like, I had no clue that like if you're not in that, if you're not doing social media, it's like you're missing out. You're missing out on a whole audience that never would find you otherwise.
Absolutely.
It's not like you have the yellow page anymore and you're like, I need biscuits.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
They're seeing the kind of the food porn, as you put it, right? Like you're selling and marketing to the masses without even having to leave your house.
Yeah, social media is powerful. Yeah. Another thing is too, back to your question, hashtags, right? Like mine are consistently like Man Young Foodie, Philly Foodie, Philly Food Scene, Philly Breakfast. So like I would encourage anyone who's trying to increase their followers or views or likes or what have you to make sure you're doing hashtags that are connected with what your audience would be looking for, right? Like biscuits and gravy. Breakfast.
And you do that within the actual post, or you do it in like the comment below? Like where do you see
I do it both because I've heard that if you do it in the comments, it can kind of increase. There's a lot of little things. And there's another trick too that someone just taught me, which is when you're commenting, don't just comment with emojis because it actually increases the views if you comment like, yeah, absolutely, come see us. Like rather than just like a little heart or like, so I try to do that as well.
Come see us with a heart. You do both.
Yeah, right. Because if you don't put words, like something with the algorithm doesn't put it, it's like really interesting.
Yeah. The algorithm's wild that these big tech companies have developed, but it's meant to put the right information in front of the right people based on your likes, wishes, and wants. Like, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. So let's talk about, obviously, what we didn't get into any of the hardship stuff. Like it sounds like if you were just to listen to this back, it's like, wow, this went great. Like, what's the craziest thing you've had to deal with so far in getting this to this point? Like any hardship or setback that like you had to take a step back to go 3 forward, like anything around that you're comfortable sharing. Yeah.
So you're right? Like we're talking about all the happy times, right? Like we're not talking about the fact that I have to get up or had to get up at 2 a.m. for months and months and months on end and be by myself in a building where like it's dark outside. Like also like I would carry a bat in with me in the mornings. Like I'm not even kidding. And it's kind of like a running joke now with my team and I. They're like, you still have your bat? I'm like, I do. I don't walk in with it anymore.
We'll get you something else in a bat.
Exactly.
We'll help you out.
I mean, it was probably, not the best, but yeah, like there's the struggles of being like absolutely physically and mentally just downright exhausted.
Because not only you're there, you're baking, you're selling to new customers, but then like you got to come home and do like the back end shit.
For sure,
like, your insurance is correct, your payroll, your like it's crazy. Like they see you there, they're like, oh, there's Tarra there, she's making her biscuits, but they have no clue
what's all behind it. Or the fact that like we up until like literally tomorrow is our first delivery from a professional like restaurant delivery service. So we've been getting our ingredients by ourselves.
You're going to like driving, loading the truck.
Loading the 50-pound bags in.
Oh shit.
And like for the first, and like a lot of people are like, oh, that's like not bad, but like it is hard to lift like 100-pound bags of flour.
And you're doing that once a week, every week for
like 3 times a week because we don't have a lot of storage. So we're just like constantly back and forth. And like a lot of that was on me in the beginning. My husband actually took a step back from his job to help me run the business in January. So, but up until that point, that was me every day, every other day.
It's amazing.
Getting up in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, like not stopping, not sleeping, not working out.
What's your husband's name?
St. Martin.
We're going to shout out to St. Martin for lugging the 50-pound bags of flour around to help out Tarra. All right. Just a little shout out. Exactly. That's amazing though.
It is
but that's the stuff that people don't see.
It's the mental exhaustion, it's the anxiety, it's the worry.
Not to mention you have a family.
I have 2 little kids. So like, you need to make sure like you're spending enough time with your little ones because that is honestly the most important thing. And I'll be honest, like the first 7 months, like I was not present at home.
Yep.
And it did affect them.
About,
so
how many times do you think you want to quit during this whole process?
Many.
So what got you past that? Because look, there's times where I still want to quit. I'm like, what? Yeah. Like, how do you work past that mentally?
So I think that for me, I draw on like my strength from previous experiences and previous like downfalls that I've had in life and in my professional career and just like things that I've been through where I'm like, you know what? I've gotten through those days. I'm going to get through this one, right? Like I have this vision, I'm driven and I have it for a reason. And I think it's just like, I guess for lack of a better way, like mind over matter thing, right? So you're like, imposter syndrome is real. Wanting to quit is real. I think you just have to keep your purpose and your vision in mind and be like, no, fuck that. Like, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep grinding. Like, this is working. It's going to continue to work. But like, I wanted to quit many times. I mean, I'm sure you can relate.
Every entrepreneur goes through it, but what I tell entrepreneurs that are just getting out of the gate or trying to start something, I said the easiest way to do it all and get through it is you literally got to be so passionate about it that passion overwhelms you.
Right.
When the times, because you're gonna quit,
right.
And then it's then you hit different phases of your business, like the hobby phase, what I refer to as like the 1 to 250 zone.
Right.
Like getting up to 250,000 on business, you might be by yourself, you might have a one person helping you. That's still like hobby zone, but then go from 250 to 5 to 750, and then barely, I think it's 8 or 9% of all business that survive actually make it to $1 million.
Huh. Interesting.
And it's like once you're at $1 million, it's a whole nother level, and it's a 3 million, 5 million, like it just every single one of those steps changes, and the whole way when you're hitting these valleys of death that I call referring as you're climbing back up, it's like you climb again, you're in a valley of death. Every time you're in that valley of death, you literally want to fucking scream, cry, and throw it all away.
For sure.
But if you can get through that hump,
then you're like,
life gets different at the top again.
Right.
But then you realize how good it can be. If you stay there, you're slowly going to sink. But then you go through another valley and you get even to another pinnacle.
No, I love that. And I think that's back to my point, right? Like that's just life in general. That's not even just business. That's just life.
One of the pillars, our career pillar.
Right. Exactly. But
I got to know what you brought today. So let's chat. What did you bring, and what do you want to show the viewers? Like,
so
I'm going to the Biscuit Lady to buy something. Like, what did you bring that's going to excite people?
Yes. So brought a little sneak peek here today of what we offer. I'm going to show the viewers here.
Absolutely.
See the steam on top because I baked these obviously today.
Oh my god.
So can I pop this open?
Show that. There's a camera there if you want. That should work. You maybe just tilt it over and show.
So these are our jalapeno cheddar biscuits.
They don't look good. Don't show that.
They smell really good. It has cheddar cheese, jalapeno baked into the buttermilk biscuit. Oops,
oh my god.
And
lift it up a little
a little bit.
Closer.
Yeah.
Nice and cheesy. Wow. Golden brown. Not overwhelmingly spicy.
Yeah, I was gonna say with the jalapeno, like, is it? I don't know if I've had. I might have.
I don't know if I've had this one because
that looks good.
In Roxborough, because we do have limited oven space, we do usually just one variety.
Yeah.
Which is we'll get there, guys.
All right.
And then I also brought some pimento cheese, which we make in house as well, to kind of have with the jalapeno cheddar biscuit.
And it's like just a spread on top, or like use it like butter essentially.
Yeah. So pimento cheese is a blend of cream cheese, cheddar, jalapenos, cayenne pepper, and.
All right. Don't mind me. I'm gonna dive in. I just want to try it. Is this? I can't eat the whole thing. I'm gonna try my best, but do I have to cut it, or I just?
Yeah, I would cut that open and then spread some of this on. Do you like jalapenos?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely want to. Let's see. I'm gonna try that. I know Dylan's behind the scenes. Or Dylan, you want to try one?
I'll try one after.
All right, Dylan's gonna try one after. This is wow. It's literally like. Reminds me of like a stuffed jalapeno popper, but without the massive explosion and confusion in your mouth. Like this is good.
Thank you.
Thank you. And without that, like that enhances the hell out of this.
So we have a sandwich on our menu that has that pimento cheese spread. It's called the Neighborhood John, which is a little tribute to the neighborhood, and they've been so like incredibly supportive.
Have you partnered up with Lucky's at all and done like a burger collab yet?
No, but
It's in the work. All right,
yes.
See, it's just being in the neighborhood. I know, but like, I can imagine this with that and a burger patty. Oh my god, with like maybe American cheese, maybe
a fried green tomato.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
wow, that's really good.
Thank you. So yeah, we sell that in the shop. We put it on one sandwich that we have. But
all right, I'm not gonna eat any. I'm gonna have more after you because I don't want to make the viewers or listeners any more jealous that I'm eating that right now. But you mentioned second location.
Yes.
A year in, you're talking about location number 2. Why number 2? What are you thinking for it? And then I want to get into like, what's the vision? Like, where is it? Biscuit Lady? Is it franchise? And we're gonna have Biscuit Ladies everywhere. Talk to me about that portion too. So I'll let you head now and tell me about the future of what Biscuit Lady holds.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to do that. So second location came into play because I realized we had an amazing concept. Like back to my point earlier, like people love it. It's unique. It's kind of cool to be able to introduce biscuits to the Philly food scene. I mean, like there's places that have biscuits and of course, and they're delicious, but it's not like a biscuit restaurant, right? Where it just focuses on biscuits and things like that. So having a niche market, niche product that's not so widely available, I think has really been like paramount in my success. So second location is actually, we need it, right? Like any listeners who know of us already, like we are selling out, we don't have enough space, we need more space. We need more oven space. We've had opportunities with like larger companies reaching out, asking us to do drop shipments.
Yeah, hey, can you send me 200 every morning?
I know. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, but then I wouldn't be able to serve the rest of my customers.
Yes. And
That's
don't
great.
want to like fully announce what it is, but there's a company that does like maybe some online shopping that's
Cool.
reached out to me
That's
to
great.
ask if we can do some shipments.
That would be amazing.
And I can't do it in my current space. So I'm like, I need more space, right?
Yeah, but you need more production facility. You need more
Yes.
layout space and, maybe enough space for 18 employees and not just 8.
Exactly.
That's great.
Yes.
So how did you determine your next location? I don't know if you can say where it's going to
Yeah.
be, but like, how did you determine where your next location should be?
So it's 4 minutes from my house, which is
well.
super convenient.
As someone that started in their row home and rolled out in his underwear across the hall to get on his computer and start, the closer to home, the better.
Yes.
And
Which I love your story too.
Yep.
Like not to like get us off topic, but like that's really cool that you like started right in that row home, like literally like and now look at your company. Like you're in 5
I still
states.
live on the same street, which is crazy. I still live up the hill a little bit, but yeah.
It's really cool. It's inspirational, right? Because like I don't hear stories like that often, and I guess the listeners too, right? Like it's great for them to hear this as well.
It's testament to what entrepreneurship is all about. It's
Right.
like you hear the big companies they all started out of garages. Well, I was out of a row home. I didn't have a garage at that row home, but kind of similar concept.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then look back on your success and kind of see where you're headed.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, so that's how second location. It's 4 minutes from my home. I had eyed up the building like months prior to
Mm-hmm.
actually signing the lease. But I was hesitant, right? Like back to our earlier conversation, it's a big step going from a ghost kitchen concept to it's like minor leagues to major leagues, right?
Yep.
And that's kind of was my hesitation, but then like the space is absolutely beautiful. It's in Plymouth Meeting.
Yep.
It's Plymouth and Butler Road.
Okay.
It's right in, if anyone's familiar with Arugula.
Yeah, it's a great location.
So yeah, lots of traffic. I think there's like 60,000 cars that go through there daily. We're going to do espresso and coffee and like fun lattes. And
There's that next level up to where...
Exactly. Which we just can't do right now. Like we have certain limitations. And it's not like a negative thing. It's just like a fact of growth.
But you got out of the gate, right? Like you started your kitchen and like you get out of the gate space. It was right here. Are you going to keep this location or are you going to...
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to keep this location. We're definitely, going to have to get our own location in Roxborough at some point, and would never leave Roxborough because our people here are amazing and
the community
literally
here,
helped.
It's either they hate you or love you in Philly is what I've learned. Like they love you, man. They're going to put you on a pedestal and they're going to parade you down Broad Street, but they hate you. Good luck.
You're done.
You got to move.
I know, yeah, like change your name.
Leave the 19 something zip codes and get out of the city. But yeah, no, it's definitely. I know the neighborhood's embracing. Look, the second location is only going to allow you to take that next leap in business. And
Right.
That's amazing. It's
Thank
really
you.
cool.
I appreciate it. Yeah. So we'll have like outdoor dining there. Like, we say outdoor dining, not like, a big restaurant. Like we're going to have like we have a little patio and we'll do like 3 tables with chairs outside. We have all of the windows open up around the perimeter of the building.
Great.
So it's like open air experience
So
in
you
the
come,
spring.
do a little quick breakfast and you can probably enhance them a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I remember, back a little bit, you said, I couldn't really see past driving home and putting 12 biscuits on a sheet for the moms of Roxborough. Shout out to the moms of Roxborough,
Yes,
right?
shout out.
For the support and launch padding you into something truly amazing. But like, how far ahead are you looking now? Like, what's that vision look like for you as an entrepreneur? 1 year in, doing this at a real level, you got real people you're supporting, payroll, like
Benefits,
the whole shebang.
Yeah.
And you have an amazing product. Like, how far ahead are you looking for, like, are you in your mind, are you on location 3 or 4 yet?
I'm on location 3.
Yeah. That's amazing.
I'm looking like 10 years ahead right now is kind of like, I'm kind of torn right now between keeping the company for my children and having it be like a generational thing or selling it 10 to 12 years down the road, right? Like, I'm not sure where I'm at with that, but I definitely have a goal in mind to do 1 location per year.
That's great.
So right now we have that 3rd location in mind. Might be somewhere near the beach. Don't really know. Maybe where we originated the idea.
We've done just thinking because one of our clients that we helped franchise was Santucci's, and we got them all set up and got them spread out. But yeah, they've opened in the beach. We work with another one, 4th Street Cookies.
Oh, wow.
So we're doing helping them with a collaboration that they have with Bassett's Ice Cream called 4th Street Creamery. That's
on the boardwalk, right?
Boardwalk.
Yeah, I've had those. Those are
we're doing
working
with them on that concept. So yeah, but it's crazy. The other people that have franchised that literally started, like you did, but they started, Reading Terminal. That was their first.
Right.
Now they're opening, 10, 15, 20 stores.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the goal.
Because I promise you, if moms in Roxborough like this, they are going to love this everywhere. Because Roxborough is not easy to please.
I agree with you. Yeah.
If you got it nailed here, it's going to work anywhere. That should be real exciting for you.
No, I appreciate that. Like coming from you as a successful entrepreneur and telling me that, it's like just backing my thoughts, my process, right? Like I'm like, okay, because I think it's working and the numbers show it's working, but like hearing that is great. So
yeah, when we built the architecture firm, we said if we can get it right in Philly, we can get it right anywhere.
I love that.
Philly is not always the easiest to do business, right? So, if you can get through all the chaos here and you take that concept south or you take it east or north, like, I don't know how it doesn't continue to work.
Right, exactly. And especially like when you think about, I know that just to even say this candidly, I know I'm not going to be the only biscuit shop, right? Like it's successful. People are probably in the years from now be like, oh man, like we want to do that, right? That's fine. No shade. It's actually really cool to know that like we have kind of set the tone for that, right? Like, but yeah, I'm ready. Like
one of the things I can tell you, and it's good for other entrepreneurs just to hear it. Look, I'm not the only architecture firm, right? I'm not the only developer, haunted house, right? Like in my business, I try to just keep my head down, blinders on, and just run.
Yes.
And then occasionally I'll pick it up and look around like a telescope and go back down and keep running. And when you spend the time focusing energy on like what the biscuit company number 2 is doing versus your biscuit company, you're actually slowing yourself down. It's don't let other people dictate what you're doing. If you have a product that's working, you have clients, customers, like just keep pushing forward. Don't just because that other company's marketing a different way or they put jelly on top of their biscuit and you put yours in the middle, like who gives a shit?
Right, exactly. like you just stand behind your product and
don't get so consumed with what your competitors are doing. You want to be conscious of what they're doing, but you don't want to worry about what they're doing.
I love that. Yeah. That's awesome.
It's been hard.
You taking on any mentees? I'm ready.
I don't do it from a pay. I do it more from just like buy me lunch or dinner.
Yeah. I'll give you biscuits.
I literally have one of my longtime clients, but also he's like, I'm buying you dinner Thursday. I have this business concept I need to run by because one of the gifts I truly have is looking ahead. Like once I've truly mastered it and been able to just kind of understand. People come to me because they give me their idea and I can cut it apart or build it up or chop it and rearrange it very quickly. It's like what skill set I truly have. And when I'm able to keep myself in that position, that's where I do my best work and that's where I make my best business decisions and connections and growth, future growth. But I do, more than happy. We'll chat offline. I can definitely assist. What else do I have here? So last thing, one of the things I always ask people on the show is like, what's like the one thing you wish you could go back and tell yourself? I mean, whether it's back in 2020 or 21 when you started this concept, but like, what's one thing that you wish you could told yourself 12 months ago that you know today?
That it's going to be successful. Basically, because I would have made that jump. And again, like certainly no shade to our Matt, because I love those guys. And like, that's awesome. But like, I would have been able to, I believe, right? I don't know. Cause you don't know, like there's so many different variables. Like I probably would have made a million more mistakes because I didn't have like Lucky's has also been almost like a guidance to me, right? Being like, no, don't do it that way. Like in terms of like purchasing or things like this or that or management. So I think the one thing I would change would be to jump into a location. Okay. But then again, I mean, I have that doubt of maybe I would have made a million more mistakes. I don't know. I think that would probably be it. Yeah. Or bring some people on to start in the beginning so that I wasn't solo, so that I could deliver more product. Yeah. But there's the demand as well, right? Like there's the scarcity, right? And it certainly was not my idea in the beginning to have a scarcity concept, but it kind of, I think, helped me a lot. I think it did help a lot. It's tough to say what you would change, and I think that that's for anyone, but I think the one thing I would change is maybe just not being so afraid of the risk. Yep.
So you tell entrepreneurs, like, don't be necessarily afraid, like you got to harness that fear a little bit.
I think, you do. And I think obviously you have to have like a plan. You can't just, as we were talking about earlier, just be like, I'm just going to open this up. Like you have to have a plan, and like an advisor in my case would have been helpful if I were to jump right into that because I had no restaurant experience or knowledge. So I mean, I'm not saying just like willy-nilly jump into everything like blindly or blindly,
whatever.
Blindly. Yeah, we don't, words are hard. I don't know sometimes. But just go for it, right? Like if you're confident in your product or what you're offering or your services or your market that you're in, to just, you know, have more confidence, I think is kind of what I'm getting at. I think that's what I would change, because I was really like nervous and scared and shy and like all the things. And I've grown a lot personally in the past year because I've had to face a lot of that head on, you know? So
Do you ever have anyone curse at you or tell you to fuck off yet?
oh man, I have.
Those are my favorite
Someone
moments.
actually came down to the shop to try to like fight me. I'm like not even kidding.
It's amazing.
Yep.
You don't forget
I didn't
those
fight her,
moments.
though.
No, you don't ever fight, but you don't forget those moments, and you learn from them, and you learn, because I will tell you, I've had those moments, and you know, I can't say I've always been on the right side of them. Like, yeah, I probably deserved it, or I did something that I made. It wasn't I intentionally made a mistake, but like, I promise I never make that mistake again.
Right.
Like I remember one of the early times when we were doing renderings for companies, like other architecture firms would hire, before we were an architecture firm, they would hire us to do renderings for them. And I remember at the time I was using some like outsourced social media company that was helping me like do posts or whatever. This is like fucking early on, like 2014, 15,
Wow.
like when we were like starting. And I remember we did a rendering for a company, another design company in the city, and the rendering was for like a school edition or like an upcoming like a major university, and it was like this like school. And I guess the company that was posting this for me found the image, saw the name of the university, saw like the logo on it, was like tagged like the university, hey, like on Twitter, like fucking put it out publicly.
No.
The architect we were working for got a call from the university, almost lost the job. And that guy, the owner of that architecture firm, called me, and I don't think I'd ever been spoken to like that in my life.
He lost his mind.
I don't think I've ever been spoken to like that in my life prior to that moment. And yeah, you learn.
Yeah.
And guess what? I've never made that mistake again, nor will I ever. I am so like, can we release that? Do we have an NDA on that? Do we?
Right.
But like, now I think of like, if I didn't have that experience back in 2015, now when I'm working with Fortune 50 companies that literally have me like I can say Live Nation is one of our clients. We're doing massive like stuff behind the scenes for them, like helping them visualize upcoming venues. I have such a strict NDA with that like, if that fucking got out, I'd be fucking sued into oblivion.
Right,
But like,
exactly.
if I hadn't had that experience back in 2015, there's no fucking way I would even understand the ramifications of what that could mean if something got out without approval or. So it's unreal, but it's like you need those moments to help you grow.
Yeah, you need to get like banged up a little bit so that you can, like you said, you would never make that mistake again.
And if I made it with Live Nation, think of the detriment it would be today versus this firm, this small mom pop firm in Philly that has 6 employees.
Right, exactly.
Versus Live Nation, global company, tens of thousands of employees all in every state.
Yep. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Right. So better to have learned it then.
Than to fuck it up now.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's that part back to hit the rung of every ladder. So,
Yeah.
Give me one last sentence of like parting for the guests and the listeners. It could be for your fans, because a lot of people are going to listen to this.
Can I do 2?
You can do absolutely. You do 3, 4, 5 if you want.
All right.
Absolutely.
I love that. First of all, yes. Shout out to all of our Biscuit fans. Like, I'm telling you, when I say like I get emotional, I'm not being cheesy. It's not fake. Like I literally will I'll cry right here if I keep talking. But it's just like, it is incredible to see how a community will support a small business and will like stand up for that small business time and time again, order, support, spread the word. So just like, thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's been amazing. I love you all, Biscuit fam members. And second to that is my team. Like I said before, they're awesome, rock stars. And like to that point, right? Like we were talking about entrepreneurs and some things that like are beneficial to new entrepreneurs. And if you're going to hire people, like I wholeheartedly believe you have to pay your people well. You have to offer them benefits as soon as you can, and you have to give them paid time off. And it's like in my business, these things are not necessarily common, but I think that industry. No, they're not. And I do think that my experience in mortgages and real estate and like these different large companies, because I worked for GMAC and I worked for Chase, and like those are some of the things that paycheck and the benefits always kept me. So it's not like a manipulation thing, but it is like, hey, I value you and I'm going to show you that I value you. And I do think that that is something that every business starting out needs to invest in. Like it sucks having a high payroll when you're not making a lot of money in the beginning.
You're the last one paid as an entrepreneur. Most get into it because they think they want to be the first one paid. Right. But when you realize that you're the last one paid and you got to take care of everyone first, you're way more successful.
Yeah. And I'm starting to see that because I'm like, if your team feels like they're appreciated by way of paycheck, by way of benefits, by way of paid time off, they will stay and they'll be loyal. And like, that is what you want as a new business, because you don't want to keep spending your time hiring new people and training new people and doing orientations and trying to pay for, you know, employment ads and things like that. You're just spinning your wheels. Whereas if you can grow a solid team from the beginning, they'll stick with you.
Exactly.
So like, I've even talked about, and my team knows this, like, we're going to offer at some point, like, we're going to offer like stocks for the company for those first 5 employees, because without them, we would be fucking nowhere.
Well, look, also location 5, 6, 7, 8. You're going to need operators to run those, right?
Exactly.
You're building a, I don't know, your team obviously more biscuit ladies.
Yes.
To run, to run additional source. That's amazing. I think, Tarra, there's a lot of good insight you gave today on the show. This product sells itself. Like, if this was just out there, like, and this was at a supermarket, like, I feel like my wife would be like, damn, we got to get more of those biscuits. Like, we got some biscuit.
Nice.
Like, this product, I think, testament to your creative ability, what you're able to do here. Like, this is truly amazing. And, keep running. I'm excited to have you back in 3 years. Just to
Thank you.
I want to, in 3 years, I want to see where you are at. Like, it's gonna be crazy to watch you continue to grow too. So, thank you so much.
Yes,
and
thank you.
Appreciate all the knowledge and wisdom you bestowed on your young/short/new entrepreneur endeavor here over the last year. But truly remarkable. So
I appreciate you having me on. It's great to be in this position to share some information. So thank you.